Hey guys, I wanted to talk about a subject today which is kind of difficult. It's having no friends. I recently turned 29 and I realized that I basically had no friends for most of my 20s and currently have no friends. And so I was just thinking about the reasons behind that. It started out in high school when I went to a boarding school sophomore year. I wasn't really doing so well socially. I was dealing with some bullying. I didn't have the best grades either. And I went to a psychologist. I was actually more forced to see the psychologist. And she said that I had Asperger's syndrome. I know this is kind of a controversial diagnosis, and I don't really like talking about diagnoses anyway because they're arbitrary. But I guess that gave me some clues as to why I might have a harder time socially than some people. And so I went through high school. I had kind of a traumatic experience where, well, it was very traumatic, where I was sent to a therapeutic boarding school after getting kicked out of this boarding school for smoking weed. I started getting into Xanax, but that's a whole nother topic. But basically, I didn't really have much of a high school experience. So then I tried to gauge how my ability was to make friends when I went to college, and that really wasn't so great over there either. I did make some friends, I guess, but it was mainly just people that I used drugs with or would party and go to raves with. And so there wasn't really a lot of substance to the relationship besides that. But when I left school at 20 and I came back to live with my mom, I live in a very, or rather, my mom lives in a small town with only 2,000 people. It's a much older population. And so that really didn't help the matter for making friends. I spent a lot of time just living at my mom's, not doing very well at all with making any kind of connections with people. I tried moving to Tampa when I was 26. I had basically same issue, just not making friends. And so I started looking at myself and thinking, what is it about my personality that's so disgusting that makes it so I don't make friends? And I really don't have an exact answer for that. I think that there are times when I kind of, I guess, maybe miss some social cues, or that's what people would talk to me about. That I guess I'm not so good with always knowing how to act in certain situations, but I really don't know. It's just kind of speculation. Another aspect that's difficult for me is that when I'm getting around people, and like particularly in groups, and people are laughing about stuff that I don't really find funny, or just talking about stuff that I don't find interesting, I have a hard time faking that I'm interested in the interaction. So there's kind of a flat effect. Like if I'm not really resonating with a group of people, I kind of have this, sterile expression, and I'm not really, like, I'm not faking it so well. So I think there's a certain element of it where I just have a preference for having more serious and real connections. And it's not that every conversation has to be really serious and really intellectual for me to get into it. I really don't like excessive, just small talk, and especially loud and obnoxious small talk and gossip. So this kind of alienates me to some degree because I guess I don't really like a lot of interactions I hear people having. I can be kind of annoyed by it. Um, and I spent some time traveling, and that also, I guess, alienated me more. Um, but basically, yeah, I just don't have friends, and I can't tell how much of it is Asperger's versus me just not liking groups of people. And I don't mean to be judgmental or sound like I'm too good for people, but it's just something that's kind of been an issue for me. It is very lonely. Like when I had my 29th birthday, it was only family that said something. I didn't hear from anybody else at all. Um, So yeah, I guess I've also well, I never really had that great of friends. I was gonna say that I lost friends, but I never really had any. So this is just kind of yeah, just a little announcement for me about what it's like not having friends. It's lonely. It's puzzling, but I also would not want to be friends with somebody that drains my energy and is just obnoxious. There's a lot of those people. I just want to share my thoughts on that.